At this time, I would like to introduce Arthur Shepard, the St. Mary's County Recreation and Parks Director.
Thank you, Gwen, and I want to welcome each one of you this evening. Celebration of life and legacy for Tyrone Harris, our Tyrone Harris. Once again, I'm Arthur, I'm Director of St. Mary's County Recreation and Parks, and I also want to welcome you to the Chancellors Run Regional Park, the home of Tyrone's office and the foundation and hub of his investment in recreation and parks in the community for over 30 years. Tyrone was a major asset to the department through positive youth development programming and ways of mentoring, outreach, and through youth sports. I'll miss Tyrone. I'll tell you more about him later. Let me also say, on a night like tonight, I want to say to Nitra and possibly Reggie and other members of the family, on behalf of the entire group here, our deepest condolences. The Recreation and Parks family, too. To you, I look forward to seeing Andrea and Marcus Jr. later next week. But I also want to welcome tonight, here we are on county grounds, our commissioners, Commissioner Eric Colvin, Mike Hewitt, and Mr. Scott Ostro. Sheriff Hall's with us tonight. You'll hear from him. There'll be some more introductions and more thoughts, but just a welcome to the park. This is the home that Tyrone spent so much time, invested in so many hours with so many of you, and how I'm grateful to be called his friend and his colleague. So I'll talk to you in a minute, but thanks for coming.
At this time, we're going to have comments from our family representative, Cheryl Barnes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see everybody here. Thanks everyone for coming out. And the first thing I want to start off by saying, in reference to Tyrone, I hope none of y'all parked on his grass. Because, Tyrone was very adamant about his fields, and he was such a gentle giant. Tyrone was my first cousin, my mother's first nephew, and he's gonna be truly missed. And just like piggybacking off of Art, Tyrone was St. Mary's County. There's no doubt about it. He was St. Mary's County. If you go in any park, you just automatically don't know. Tyrone been here, don't mess his fields up. And I just want to say a story because my brother Jerome had, him and his wife, they had passed in back in March. And I'm just saying this because if Jerome was here, he would tell this story, because we always knew this story from a long time ago about Tyrone, what Tyrone did. Tyrone was in all types of sports, and especially with this basketball, with him, Art Shepard, Cook, Clark, a host of them. So with my brother Jerome, and back then I was the scorekeeper. And so back then when Jerome had first started the league, he had to play Tyrone and his team, Gary Cook, this elite team. Art, Shepard, Gary, all of them. So the first time Jerome running down there, down the court, and Gene Polilio, he was a ref back then too. He always, but don't tell him I said this, but Gene Polilio always cheated for Tyrone's team. They would always get the call. So with me saying that, Jerome and Tyrone was on opposite teams. And this was when Jerome was first started in the league. And Tyrone did a vicious elbow. And in the end, he said these exact words to Jerome. welcome to the big league. And Tyrone has set the tone for Jerome to be tough as he was playing basketball. Me and Jerome, we always talked about Tyrone doing that vicious elbow. So, you know, I had my tears and I still feel like crying because I'm going to miss my cousin. But at the same time, though, you know, these is tears of joy because he was a wonderful, wonderful soul. He was a gentle giant. You could have went to Tyrone and said anything about your problems. He was always going to try to help you somehow, some way. And if he couldn't, he would just tell you wouldn't. So, you know, as I look around, I see all these beautiful faces coming out here to, well, wish my cousin off. I just want to say thank you. And even though Tyrone is gone, don't y'all park on his grass. I'm serious. I'm serious because he's going to be looking at y'all. Do not park on the grass. In no parks. No parks. And I just want to say thank y'all for coming out. And y'all stay beautiful because don't be sad too much. Because as you know, every time when we would see Tyrone had a smile. He had a smile on his face. So, of course, get your tears out and let those tears be tears of joy. Tyrone, I love you forever. May God be with the family. And thanks everyone for coming out, you beautiful souls. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now we're going to have Art Shepherd, Director of Parks and Recs, come back for some additional comments at this time.
So where did it all begin? Because you know, Tyrone, for what he did for the department, for me, for you in the investment, it's huge, but it started all the way back at George Washington Carver Junior High. Now students have integrated in Great Mills as a junior high, although Tyrone was 2 years ahead of me, so with my brother I saw Tyrone on the basketball court. And Tyrone could play. And then we got over to Great Mills, and I got over in the field with him sometime, particularly the football field. So it was always joy. And then competing in town and differently, playing with him in different times. But then the opportunity came, and he came to us, and we were booming and we were growing. And Tyrone worked with first the Leonard Hall Recreation Center and youth basketball. But it was time for position open here, and Tyrone fit the bill and was hired here. And so for 30 years, to be this park, the signature park of St. Mary's County Recreation Park, Tyrone being the lead, Tyrone being who he is to you, being charming, being delightful. But the biggest word I have for Tyrone in all these 30 years is Tyrone was loyal. Tyrone was loyal to me. He was loyal to you. He was loyal to the mission of St. Mary's County government and the department. I couldn't have valued and appreciated anybody more than Tyrone as a personal friend, a colleague, and somebody that meant so much to you. Miss, I don't even know how to describe the miss. It's probably going to be bigger than I even thought. Tyrone, probably a month ago, we were laughing. Tyrone and I probably talked 6, if not 7 days a week. The parks are busy, always want to know about that. Tyrone had a heavy lift, North County to South County. A lot of hourly staff, so we talked all the time. And he got laughed on the phone and said, "Shepherd, I don't believe anybody knows how much I talk to you." I said, "Yeah, I know, and it sounds a little funny, Tyrone." But he was always just thoughtful, gentle giant, loved the work, loved the community, and you all know that. I don't need to tell you that. But my joy for him. So before I close this time, we just can't think of him any better. But there's another ways I want to speak to him is, just give me a second with the hourly staff. Tyrone was very proud of the hourly staff that he had worked with and got together. Tyrone would often brag to me that there was none any better anywhere. Tyrone had the training. You're talking about being at 23 parks. That included the waterfront parks, managing those and getting it going from Charlotte Hall to Cardinal Gibbons. Tyrone got it done. But he loved the staff. He was grateful for them, and he was very proud of them. So to that staff that's here tonight, I want to tell you how grateful I am, and thanks to you and for the work that you do. Tyrone was proud of you. Second is, I want to say to Sheriff Hall and the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office, what they did tonight, how they responded just by a simple phone call, how they always responded to Tyrone. You're going to hear from Sheriff Hall. Tyrone was in that business. I remember going back. How many of y'all remember being here with Tina Center action and the Huckabucks being in here? Come on. Down there at Carver Recreation Center. Come on one more time. Tyrone, though, was always the last to leave. Tyrone didn't skirt from his duties. Tyrone didn't take the easy way out. He was present. He was there. So with him, the sheriff's office, how they supported him, but what he thought, Sheriff Hall, what he thought of you, and men and women in blue, the sheriff's department. I'm grateful for you and what that meant to Tyrone and his success. And then lastly, then I'll close. I have somebody, a friend of mine and a colleague and a wonderful former director of Recreation and Parks. He's with us here tonight, is Phil Rollins. Phil, thank you. Phil was instrumental, was the guy, the lead when Chancellors Run Recreation and Park, Chancellors Run Regional Park opened. Cut the ribbon here. So what you see is Phil's hand was in strong. Phil's hand was in me when we hired Tyrone and all the management systems that we had to put in place to get these going. And Phil, you know I've told you many times, I think you're a Hall of Famer, and what a wonderful director you were. Thank you. Now, find some joy tonight in Tyrone for sure. Tyrone's a professional, a gentleman. You love him as much as I do in some ways, but I can't tell you how much he's meant to me, and use that term loyalty, and I don't use that loosely. Nitra and your family, God bless you all, and how I thank God for Tyrone Harris being in my life. Thank you.
I'm Miss Gwen to a lot of you, Chaplain to some, and just Gwen to a lot of others. I had the opportunity to come here looking to work on the side with the seniors, and Frida Owens was like, Tyrone needs you more. That was in 1997. You guys have seen what Tyrone's hand can do. The Young Marines program, Girl Power, we had leadership groups that went to Columbine, Colorado, and running youth groups on no funds meant community partnerships. That only happens if you have the support. Phil Rollins, Arthur Shepard, the staff, KJ's here, Barbara's here. You know, having staff that works with children who are latchkey kids, when their parents are working, many of you know the struggle. And to be able to have a safe space for people to come to, look around you at this park. These lights were not here when I came here way back in the day. Okay? And Tyrone's famous word, I can show you better than I can tell you. All right? So, I just want to make sure you understand, I know there's a push to do the YMCA, but I need you to understand something about the original St. Mary's Teen Center. That concept formed in 1987. It was through the Walford Clements Fund, where 2 young boys were killed. They were riding around in the county, there was nothing to do, and there was an accident. And I would say that there was alcohol involved as well. Well, back in those days, I was a kid too, we had a bar every half a mile. We made the Guinness Book of World Records, okay? So, and think about St. Mary's County without all the stores. We had, I think, 1 or 2 traffic lights when I was growing up. That's it. All of the trees and stuff were still here. So think about, we really didn't have anything to do. So your commitment to programs and your commitment and support to Tyrone, the soccer has grown tremendously. You know, having the tournaments here, the softball leagues, the church leagues, the skate park. You know, we have kids that are involved in all different types of things. Field hockey, lacrosse, Tyrone Harris. Facilitating people's dreams, and for me, that was youth programming where kids could be leaders, where they could connect to national programs like none other. You know, and our children were present because we were given an opportunity in recreation and park support, St. Mary's County Department of Social Services, juvenile justice, the judges, the sheriff's office. You know, our children were able to utilize the obstacle course because I was a volunteer with the sheriff's office. The deputies did not have to assist us with the programming. The United States Marine Corps, they gave more than enough. You know, some of those children who were here with the deputies, and they were here, they went into law enforcement also as correctional officers and also as deputies and also military police. So I'm thankful that people understood the tapestry that Tyrone wove. Each one of you are a common thread to that being a success. When there are no funds, we know how to barter in St. Mary's County, but the main thing is that you showed up and you were present. We are here in this park because this was the anchor. This was the anchor for so many things. And we can't stop. What Tyrone started, he gave us the foundation. It is up to each and every one of us to take those seeds that he deposited in us, nurture it, grow it, and pass it on. We don't need a handout, we need a hand up. We need to help our children, support our children, encourage our children. And Tyrone was a man who believed in second chances. It's not about what you did, but what are you going to do about what happened to you? He lives as long as we continue to carry his dream out of having safe spaces for seniors and children, intergenerational activities. You know, my kids would get in trouble if they saw a senior coming through the double doors here and they didn't ask to help them. Frida Owens taught my girls in girl power etiquette. Well, then we had the opportunity to go for Kathleen Kennedy Towson for the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame. Those women were so impressed by those young ladies, and some of them are here in this audience tonight, but I'm not going to embarrass you, okay? But it also takes the parents. We know that you're tired from working. We know you're tired from paying bills and the ends not meeting. We have to continue to reach out and support each and every one of us. I call St. Mary's County my beloved community because that's the only community that I know. The spirit of community continues and exists as long as we allow it to exist. So I encourage each and every one of you to take our community back. We can have a crime-free community, but we also must be engaged and must work with our law enforcement. And I am a law enforcement chaplain, and I'm thankful that my officers are here as well as my sheriff. I know he's around here somewhere. But if there's an issue, you have to communicate with us and let us know. Work with us so we can keep our streets, our schools, and our communities safe. So it can be a great place to live. And look at our parks. Our parks are safe. Tyrone has done a tremendous job. And like Ms. Cheryl said, don't park on these grass. Okay? But we had the first licensed after school program. That was pretty huge. Our children had somewhere to go. Our children were taught nutrition because some of them were coming in hungry. So social services and the extension service, they worked with us. So I just encourage you to not give up and to reach out and connect to resources that are here. If you don't know, ask somebody that knows. Tyrone's not here, but he's got a lot of people that he has trained up. So those of you who he has trained up, I need you to walk it out. The next speaker is Bonnie Bevins. A lot of people call her the Rhythm Club lady. Okay, it's a joy for me because Tyrone was so proud of Bonnie and her accomplishment. The children, I remember when she first started it, she's also an educator and an encourager, and she's here for our kids. So Bonnie Bevins.
I'm a little short. I'm just gonna hold it. Oh, this is way better. How's everybody doing? I learned at an early age that family wasn't always blood. I've known Tyrone.
It's okay, it's okay.
I think almost my entire life. He played softball with Art Shepard and Gary Reed and my dad. And I'm also a proud product of St. Mary's County Recreation and Parks. Tyrone was the middle school director at an after-school program at Leonardtown Middle School. We would stay after school a couple of days a week, do homework, shoot hoops. And one day I stayed after and I called my mom because I was pretty sure she forgot me. And she said, I'm running late. And I said, it's okay, I'm with Tyrone. He was the gym supervisor at all my Park and Rec basketball games and was in charge of all the monthly Park and Rec middle school dances at Leonardtown Middle School. And every encounter I had with him, it was, how are you doing? How is school? Are you staying out of trouble? See, I wasn't a bad kid, but, Kevin McAllister said it pretty accurately, sometimes I got in a little mischief. We all did. But Tyrone was always there, always checking in to see how I was doing and how life was going. I went on to graduate, and I got my first job working for Park and Recreation my senior year in high school. Tyrone wasn't just a friend, a mentor, or a boss. He was a beacon of wisdom and warmth that made us feel like family. Twilight camp, outdoor basketball camp, girls power, after school program, Toys for Tots, Young Marines, church softball games, and working concessions at Chancellors Run were some of the best times of my life. I grew so much as a person, and it was here that I discovered my love for kids who needed a little extra love, a little bit of guidance, and needed an adult that was in the corner that cared for them and loved them. Tyrone's compassion for others knew no bounds, but he approached each person and situation with genuine empathy, love, and an open mind and heart. His respect wasn't demanded, but it was earned. Through a life that he lived with integrity, honesty, and a commitment to our youth and our county. No matter where or when I saw Tyrone, out in the community, out in the county, he always had time for a hug, a great conversation, and a huge smile. Tyrone's impact on our lives is immeasurable, and his lessons that he has taught us will continue to guide us. May his memory inspire us to be the kind of person and the supportive presence he was for each of us. Until we meet again, rest easy. Love you forever.
Now we have Janice Wildfire, poet, retired principal from St. Mary's County Public School System, past president NAACP. She's also on the Unified Committee for African American Contributions, and so many more that I can't even get them started. But thank you so much for being here today, Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gwen, for inviting me to be a part of this occasion. It's very sad, though, and very unexpected. And we are here today, I know, with very heavy hearts, and to show our respect for and love for Tyrone and give condolences and comfort to his family and to each other. Cheryl, I don't know if you know it, but I live right down the road from Miss Philo and Mr. Jerome. My family did. I grew up with Shirley, your mom. Shirley was the patrol on the bus. And you better believe nobody made a stand. So I'm very, very connected to the family, and of course, very, very connected to Tyrone. You see, I volunteer for many organizations, but I work with also the Unified Committee for Afro-American Contributions. A little connection to that is that it is a local nonprofit organization that documents, educates, and commemorates the contributions of African Americans to the history and development of St. Mary's County. And it advocates for improvements in equitable health care, education, and community building for everyone. And our founder was a man named Elmer Brown, and we erected 2 monuments, the African American Monument of St. Mary's County, to pay tribute to African Americans from all walks of life who have contributed to the history and development of the county. And we established a memorial monument for the United States colored troops who fought in the Civil War. And they were right here from St. Mary's County. There were over 700 who served, and we have 2 Medal of Honor recipients. William Barnes, could be related to some of you Barneses out there, and a man named James Harris. So if you have the last name Harris, you might be related to that Medal of Honor recipient. We also have sponsored Juneteenth for over 20 years. Now, both monuments were donated to the county, and their care is provided by Recreation and Parks. We also have an office and historical displays in the United States Colored Troops Interpretive Center located in John G. Lancaster Park. Tyrone was the person we called if we needed anything at all. When Gwen asked me to speak, the first thought that came to mind was how much our members have called on Tyrone and the song that Erykah Badu sings, "Oh Tyrone." You know, there's a song, and she says in the song, she talks about Tyrone, and then the ladies refrain, the songstress, she sings, you know, if you need anything, you just need to, what? Call Tyrone. And the refrain is, what does the backup singer say? Call him. So that, of course, is what I thought about, because we called on him so much. And of course, we always got answers to our questions. And you would always heard him say, well, yes, and I'll guess the guys, I'll have the guys come down and take care of it. And he did, because all we had to do was call Tyrone. He was very dependable, very dependable. We called on him to fulfill a need, to help us accomplish our missions, our goals, our dreams, and he always came through. We were out at dinner one night, 4 ladies, and he came in with a friend. We were at Captain Pat's. How many of you go to Captain Pat's over there? So Tyrone was there, 4 of us were there, and we were having dinner. And when we went to pay for our dinner, they said, it's already been taken care of. And guess who did it? Tyrone. He would claim that he didn't, but we know he did, because he believed in paying it forward. He understood that we are paid for, and we must pay it forward. With all the negativity that's surrounding us now, let's not forget that there are positive and generous people out there like Tyrone, and they say pay it forward and show that they care at work, at home, and in the community. They pay it forward. There's a quote from a person named Omar Shafari. There's a circle of life, and there are circles of love. Circles of sacrifice, no beginning, no end. We are here because somebody loved us. We are here because somebody sacrificed for us. We are here because somebody paid for us, and so we pay it forward, striving to fulfill our dreams and helping others fulfill theirs. You know, when we dedicated the African American Monument, I remember Johnny Brown, Elmer's wife, she made sure that we included this poem in the program because it propels us in our mission. It does reflect the world for which Tyrone aspired during his time on earth. And may he rest in peace. You know, there are no phones in heaven. The poem is called I Dream a World, and it is by Langston Hughes. I dream a world where no other man will scorn, where love will bless the earth, and peace its path adorn. I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way, where greed no longer saps the soul, nor avarice the day. A world I dream where black or white, whatever race you be, will share the bounties of the earth, and every man is free. Where wretchedness will hang its head, and joy, like a pearl, attends the needs of all mankind. of such I dream. Our world. Amen.
At this time, we're going to have Frank Clinton, Bishop and Senior Pastor of Christ Together as One Christian Church and Ministries Center, to speak on the man that Tyrone was and also the brother.
At this stage in my life, when I get behind the mic, I kind of want to preach, but that's not what we're going to do this evening.
Can't hear you, Frank.
I said at this stage in my life, when I get to a mic, I kind of want to preach, but that's not what we're going to do this evening. I want to share with you a few things about a young man that over 57 years ago, we clapped hands, we dapped it. Some of you guys don't know anything about dapping. Depending on where you come from. So we gave a little high five, we dapped. And we made a decision that we were brothers. And there are several of us brothers around here in this place tonight. And so we were serious about that thing because we come up, humbly in this area here in St. Mary's, and we started out when it was segregation before things became integrated. And we made a decision that we just wanted to make a difference. Now, in making that decision, we had to decide early on who did what. Because, a lot of guys, that we come up with a lot of alpha males, and so on and so forth. But Tyrone was so naturally gifted in so many ways. I mean, you guys know about the sports, so I'm not even going to go there with you. I want to talk personally for a moment. I want to talk about the young boy becoming a man. I want to talk about a young man that saw a lot of things in his life that wasn't right, even in his own family, and made a decision that he was just going to help people. No matter what came his way, no matter what he had, he was going to help people. Now, we all made that commitment, but Tyrone had a different platform. And the platform that God gave Tyrone used it to its maximum capacity. Now, if you don't believe that, just take a second and look around. You'll find that there's some of us from everywhere. And all of us have one common thread. My sister said it best just a few moments ago. We call Tyrone. Yeah, we call Tyrone. So when I think about that, I'm like, okay, well, what was so special? Well, first of all, his word was his bond. Yes. If Tyrone told you he was going to do it, it was going to get done. It did not matter how it got done, but it was going to get done. And he was so compelling that those of us that were close to him just believed that he would get it done. So we didn't question it either, and it got done. When someone tells you that they don't have a place to stay, or they don't have this, or they don't have that, and they need the other, and you see a man that listens to them, and the first thing out of his mouth is, okay, let's see what we can do. It wasn't beat them up, it wasn't over the head, but you should have done this, why didn't you do that? It was, okay, let's see what we can do. And then Tyrone would rely on whatever resources that he could get a hold of to make that happen, and would never tell you about it. All you knew was that he delivered. That's all you knew. You see, where I'm going with this is, in many ways, just because Tyrone was a servant leader, others was always first with him. When you get older, you might read a story about a man from Galilee. Yeah. And see, You have to understand the characteristics of that man. And if you didn't read about the man from Galilee, perhaps you should just think about what you know of Tyrone. I think you'll find a lot of similarities. But what I'm saying is, all throughout the years, for those of you that have known him, if you think about what he was doing and what you were doing when you met him, and then you think about what you were doing and what he was doing the last time you seen him. And if you could connect the dots, I think you would agree with me that Tyrone was one of the people that you were glad that you crossed paths with. Yeah. I think you will agree with me that the integrity of the man was bar none. That's powerful in today's world where your word doesn't mean anything. You know, there's no bond. It's just everybody doing their own thing. No loyalty. None of that. Tyrone wasn't cut from that cloth. No, Tyrone was cut from a cloth that was based on loyalty and commitment, and your word meant something. A handshake meant something. He didn't have to talk to you all day. Just shake your hand and say, okay, we're going to get it done, and it was done. My friend, and based on what I see, who I see standing around me tonight, I like to substitute the word my with our. Can we do that? I think it's fair to say that this was our friend. Our friend and what he brought to the table in terms of integrity, we should always remember it. You want to know what it means to be true and to be real? Think about Tyrone. You want to know what it takes as a servant leader to meet someone? Watch this now. You may not have known it, but because I've been so close to him for so many years, this was a man that was leading while bleeding. I said I won't want to preach, so I'm not going to preach. But he was leading without bleeding. See, you didn't know about some of the concerns. You didn't know about some of the pain, some of the cuts and scars that he had. You just know he delivered. And he did that without complaint. A matter of fact, if you were one of his tight friends, like when we played sports, y'all talk about Tyrone's always smiling. Well, you know what? If you played against him, the worst thing that could happen was when Tyrone smiled at you. You would have, come on, JC, you would have been better. You would have wished he would have just lashed out at you. But we had nicknames, you know, so he was Ty, I was C, we all had nicknames, and he say, C, don't worry about it, I'm gonna get it. And he'd go up to the person and shake their hand, and they would look at him, you know, because they were talking smack, and Tyrone would just look back at him and smile. They thought that meant that they were cool with him. Come on, Odell. Not at all. Not at all. They were about to get a whipping. Yeah, a serious whipping. No, y'all don't understand. I'm talking about one of them whippings where you never want to cross him again. That's the kind of whipping I'm talking about. Yeah. This man in his humility, even in times that were tough, he didn't complain. It wasn't in his DNA. You know, he would just humbly say, well, you know what? This is what I need to do next. Or I'm thinking about doing this now, see? That means it's time for a switch. And switching over. I got 2 minutes on Bill Funk. But he was making a switch. When you heard him say, okay, we're going to do this, notice the word, we're going to do this now, see? That means stuff wasn't working that he did at first. So Tyrone the man is a man that walked in servitude. Make no question about it. And when you can walk in servitude, you walk with strength. Tyrone never, anybody here know Tyrone, if you've ever shook his hand, when you got hold of them mitts, they embraced you. You know, they swallow you up half the time, depending on what size you were. But he was he smiled with it. So even though you felt the firmness, he made you feel good about it. And you knew just by the handshake, this guy gonna make it happen. That was the man. He was the man. He valued every child, every young person. Oh, I'm not done. Every old person, black, white, or indifferent. I got 30 seconds. Okay. Black, white, or indifferent. He did that. So it's very difficult to know somebody and been a friend like I have all my life and to talk about him in a few moments, but I'm going to digress because of time. But I'm going to tell you something. Tyrone loved you. Tyrone loved you. With everything in his being. He didn't know no other way but to love you. And I think by what I see tonight, y'all loved him too. Thank you.
I'm not going to be long. We all had a special relationship with Marcus Tyrone Harris. Tyrone Harris. Tyrone. We call his name now, but he doesn't answer. He started that eternal journey, and Lord knows he's in the right place. But we're left behind, and we got to pick up the pieces. Now, my own personal journey with Tyrone started not as long as some of them, but a little over 55 years ago. Great Mills High School. Go Hornets! We bled green and gold. We loved one another. We were colorblind. We played sports, and that made us even more colorblind. They talked about how competitive he was, and he was. But Lord knows, it built character. It built us to who we are. Now, Tyler and I know each other a long time. Had a little gas station down here on the corner. And I ran the charge account for Tyrone when he had his lawn care business. He said, Mike, you know, this is a really tough business. I got to get people working for me all the time. So I'm going to change. So he went over to Calvert Cliffs. And he wanted to go over there and he wanted to do security work. He said, Mike, it's good work. You know, I get good money. But I got to work shifts, and I don't like working shifts. I got family, and I want to be home with them in the evening. I said, Ty, what are you going to do? He said, I'm looking at parks and recs and parks, St. Mary's County. I said, Ty, you got to try it. You got to be happy. You got to be where you want to be. And he found his place. Lord knows all of us who know him and had that special relationship for him knew he loved this Chancellors Regional Park. Now, we did talk many times there at the gas station. I remember one time I told him, look, I think I'm going to run for county commissioner. He said, Mike, you should. I'd like to run with you. I said, that'd be a great idea. Me and you could run at the same time. I'll run from Hollywood, Leonardtown. You run from Lexington Park, and we'll be a team. So 2013 came along, and I thought I had it in me, and I tracked him down, and I said, hey, it's time to get started. He said, Mike, I want you to do it, but I can't. I said, why not? I said, be perfect. You're just what we need. I said, you're the kind of people that need to serve St. Mary's County. He said, Mike, I can't afford it. He said, become a commissioner, you gotta take a cut in pay. He's right. You definitely don't do it if you have a lot of obligations. It's too bad it has to be that way. But he went the way he wanted. But you know, he'd call me. He'd call me often. I'll tell one quick story, because again, I know it's getting cold. It was a couple months ago. He called me up and he said, Mike, he said, I want to tell you about a team, a Spanish team. It's Latino Americans, and they play soccer at night from 10 p.m. to midnight. I said, oh my God. I said, who wants to play soccer at 10 p.m. to midnight? He said, Mike, it's the only time these people can play. He said, they work all day. He said, they're the cooks, they're the dishwashers, they're the waiters, they're the people who work in our service industry. He said, they're good people and they want to play. But you know, the county had made a decision that 10 o'clock, you know, we should cut it off. So anyway, we ended up, set up a meeting. And these were wonderful people who came to speak with us. Art Shepherd was there, county administrator. Point was, is they didn't know who to talk to. They didn't know how, well actually, they couldn't really speak much English. And that's okay. They're here for a better life, which many of us are. And the point was, they wanted to play, but they didn't know who to talk to. But they knew Tyrone. And they said, we're gonna go see Tyrone and see if he knows somebody to talk to. So he called me, and I thank God I was in the position I was, and now those people can play soccer. That's the kind of man he was. Many of you have heard it from all the other speakers, you'll hear it from the additional ones. But you know, what I like to think, I see the Masonic Lodge officers are here today, and God bless you. What I want to say is something I'll pick from the Elks Lodge, which I belong to too. It's in their memorial service. And it goes like this. You say the past person's name 3 times. And you say it, Marcus, Tyrone Harris. Tyrone Harris, Tyrone. But he answers no more. He has passed through the valley of death, and he is now ascended into heaven. What we can do to remember Tyrone is remember something else someone once said. It's that you die twice. You die that day, you take that last breath, and your soul rises out of your body, and what becomes of you becomes of you. But the second time you die is when that last person who remembers you ceases to speak your name. In my own way, I'm going to remember Tyrone by thinking, when I'm in a certain situation, when I remembered him, when I was with somebody I could help, I'm going to say, what would Tyrone Harris say? What would Tyrone do? And that's a way for us to remember him and for him to never die. Thank you.
I didn't know much about the Masonic life when I was running youth programs here. And the Joseph A. Egan Lodge opened the doors to, at that time, my Young Marine program. But that was because Tyrone introduced the gentleman and introduced the kids to the gentleman of the Joseph A. Egan Lodge, number 104, Fidelity 104, I can't get it right there. But we have the past master, Nathaniel Scroggins, from the Joseph A. Egan.
I bring you greetings this evening on behalf of Noel C. Osborne, Grand Master of the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Maryland and its jurisdictions incorporated, and our leader, Worshipful Master Julian Grant. Our lodge is 48 members strong, and we have some past masters and our elected junior warden here tonight to also bring their greetings and sympathy and apply it together as a unit. I think it was 1997, we had an event 26 years ago, and Tyrone walked up to me and said, hey, let me ask you something. How do I become a Mason? And I told him then, I said, if you see one, ask one. And he said he was asking. And on February the 13th, 1998, he was raised to a Master Mason and has been a member of our lodge ever since. It's a little confusing to the general public that our fraternity is religious. And if you think we're religious, all you got to do is join, chair an event, and go over budget. That's going to be an end of the religion part right there. But when Tyrone came, he said, what are the principles of being a Mason? And it's only 3: brotherly love, relief, and truth. And he is the epitome of the 3 principles I just spoke of. And we all will miss him for it. And thank you.
Good evening. For the family, we want everybody from the Sheriff's Office wants to relay our condolences to you and know that you have an army of people at your disposal anytime, day or night. The relationship that I enjoyed with Tyrone was one that I'll just sum up very, very quickly. It's one of the least appreciated things that you can get in another human being. It's been touched on a little bit, but it's reliability. anytime you called, he picked up the phone. And by that example, he taught me to do the same. We relied on one another for one thing that was most important for Tyrone, and that's the safety of children when they're playing in his parks. So we did what we had to do to make sure that that was done. When I had to go to Parks and Rec earlier to break the news, it was one of the most difficult things I'd ever had to do. But I'm not going to grieve. I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to be grateful because I was actually in a graveyard earlier today. Nothing happens by accident, right? And I ran into Coach Big Country, who was here. And he said that Tyrone had taken a chance on him and changed his life by giving him the opportunity to coach children. And that's what it's all about. Giving people the opportunity to meet their God-given potential. And I'm so, so grateful that I knew and got to work with a man like Tyrone. God makes big men for a couple of reasons: to look up to and to make a big impact. Tyrone, big man, big impact.
Corporal Andrew Holton. Andy, cops, school resource officer, and he has been here supporting the youth program through my special events here at St. Mary's Teen Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Grant. I just want to start out with this quote. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day. Unseen, unheard, but always near. Still loved, but missed, very dear. I know Tyrone for about 30 years. He's a very talented and smart individual. He's always willing to help anyone at any time. I know many programs he assisted with right here. It started right here at the Teen Center back in 1997 when we started the Hotspot program in Lexington Park here. There was many programs he started out. It was Toy for Tots, that's already been mentioned before, along with the Department of Social Service here. Young Marines with Gwen Bankins, who did a fantastic job with the Young Marines students from Charles, St. Mary, and also Prince George County. We're from here. And also with he started the Neighborhood Accountability Board with the Department of Juvenile Justice that started out with Dan Shade. And also on that board with employees from Walden Sierra, the Sheriff's Office, Parole and Probation, the Office of Community Service with Ms. Cynthia Brown, I think she's here, and also with Mr. Kelsey Bush. And now that Neighborhood Accountability Board, we work with the youth, and now we have what's called Teen Court, which is in Leonardtown. It started right here in the Teen Center here. Also, what started here was the food drive with Mike's Bikes and with the numerous different church organizations. It started at the Teen Center here. And then he also was one thing that another thing that he started was the shop with the cop. It wasn't called at that time. It started out with Mrs. Kessler was down with the Catholic Charities, and we had vans. I realized, I said, can we use a couple of the vans to take some children out to at that time was Kmart and Catholic Charities, and we went there and we shopped with the students and took them back home with the gifts. And now we have the shop with the cop, but it first started out with the Catholic Charities down here. So he started a number of programs, and we helped with. The list of programs and accolades that Tyrone was part of could go on forever, but I'm going to stop. I know it's getting cold. I would like to close out with a speech with a general reminder for all of us with a little bit more of Tyrone, who never met a stranger and always made it a point to share his light with the world. Shine bright. Thank you, Tyrone.
Tyrone, I always be calling Kelsey too. It's like, Kelsey, I need help, So I'm thankful because running youth programs, females can't always tell males how to be a male. And Kelsey worked with me for over 10 years working with the male youth here, as well as there were so many others, but I know I rely upon him so much. He's at St. Mary's College now, that's a community liaison office. He was the youth coordinator back in the day with the county government, but most of all, he was here working with us to make a better community. Kelsey Bush.
Thank you, Gwen. I'm going to keep it short because everyone's really said everything about Tyrone. The important thing, I want everyone to look around and look at each other. The reason why is inside of you right now is where Tyrone is at the moment. Bishop Clinton, you said our friend Tyrone. You are wrong. It is our brother Tyrone. Because he gave each of us a piece of him each and every time he talked to us. Every time he interacted with us, he made us feel as if we were the most important person in the world. He brought all of us together on a cold December evening before New Year's. Ain't that some stuff? We might ask the question why. It might be the question of why must this happen? Why him? Why now? We are entering a new year. It might be the reason why this happened. Because things need to change. Because when one person is shouldering the burden for the rest of us, it might be time for us to begin to shoulder the burden for them that they've been carrying for the rest of us. It might be the reminder as a community, we need to lift up and carry one another. And that it doesn't stop when that person steps away. He was our pillar, but now is for us to come together and to hold what he started. It is for us to lift up his legacy, his togetherness, and the love he shared for all of us through what he did for each of us to remember him. That is our charge. And to stay off his grass. And with that, I love all of you, much like he loved you. Bless you.
Some of the seeds that he planted, that's what I call them. Some of the kids that were in the youth program that Tyrone poured into, I'm going to call Trey Lancaster and Maurice Martineau.
Amen.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'm here to speak to you on behalf of all of the youth that he has helped, and especially the troubled youth. I first came to know Tyrone back around 97 and 98 when, as Gwen said, we don't look like what we've been through. Amen. So a long time ago, I was about, I'll tell my age, about 12 or 13 at the time, and I was standing before the courts up in Leonardtown, and they were saying that, you know, you should throw her away till she's 21, and I was 12 or 13 at the time. And around that time, I went to a couple of different foster homes, Walden Sierra, juvenile detention, Waxters, different things like that. And then they said, Gwen, you can solve this. So here I am, and I went and I came to the Young Marines program here at Teen Center. And that was the first time I met Tyrone. And from that point forward, he became a dad to me. And I'm very grateful for that. And often I called him that until he frustrated me, then he was just Tyrone. I did mess up the grass. I don't know if Gwen gave us permission to this. Maurice, you might remember, but we put a tarp on that hill over there, and we thought it'd be a great idea to do a slip and slide with some Dawn dish soap, and we were just having the time of our lives, but I think there's probably still marks on the hill. So we did mess up the grass. But one time. We didn't do the slip and slide anymore after that. But after that program, we also, not long after that, Tyrone asked, after going through the program with the Young Marines, if I would join and help as he started the Twilight Camp. So first of all, if you were in Young Marines, wave at me, because I saw so many of you. If you worked with Young Marines, if you were in the program, just wave at me, amen. We are so thankful. They're all over the place, amen. And I'm just so thankful, and I feel your pain tonight. But I worked with the Twilight Camp, and all of a sudden I realized that between Gwen and Tyrone, somehow they got me from being the youth at risk to working with youth at risk. And we saw and we helped and we mentored so many young people in this community that had been sexually abused, were dealing with mental health challenges, that were homeless, that didn't have food to eat. And they came here and they could forget all their problems. This was the safe place to have fun. We did so many programs. We rode the heck out of that STS bus and that van that was always broke down. And we went to all over the place. Gwen had us go on to the Marine Snipers, Carlos Hathcock's house, and we thought we were going to some convention center. We were in his front yard and he's coming out and talking to us. Just things that if it wasn't for a few select people that decided to make a difference, that decided to step in for some young people who had some people that were supposed to be there for them that weren't, but yet there were some people there that weren't supposed to be there but decided to step up and make a difference in those young people's life. And I wanted to share that very personal experience. After the Twilight Camp, I continue to work on with many of the other staff that I see here today in all of the different programs that Tyrone had and supported. You know, it was funny because my husband and I were trying to explain who Tyrone was to our kids. And it was like Teen Center Tyrone, right? What do you mean? Chancellors Run Tyrone, Parks and Rec Tyrone. I mean, we didn't have to say last name. That was it. That was his identity, right? We associated him with all of these wonderful things, and we explained that back then, Nicollet Park wasn't anything but a basketball court that had maybe 10 parking spaces. There was no loop, there was no skate park, there was no water park, there was no pool on Great Mills Road. I mean, we have the youth today talking about there's nothing to do, but really, they have no idea. Once they shut that skate station down back in '97, this was it, and this was our safe place, amen. And I just hope that, you know, what I see when I look around here is I see a bunch of people that are hurting. I see a bunch of people who, like everyone's already said, whose life has been changed forever. And I see so many people like Bonnie and Ron and KJ and who have been motivated and that already that seed has been passed down for them to continue to be successful, to continue to mentor the youth underneath of us and continue to love others. So I just ask that the best way that we can honor him, the best way that we can move forward is to continue to do three things, and that is love our community, love one another, and to continue to mentor these youth. Amen.
Thank you again, everyone, for gathering here tonight. As we honor the life and legacy of a remarkable individual. My name is Maurice Martin, and I had the privilege of meeting Tyrone about 26 years ago when I was like 12 years old. When asked me to speak on the impact that Tyrone had on my life. Like I said, I first met him when I was here attending the Young Marines program. under Gwen Bacon's. I later had the opportunity to work for Tyrone here at the Teen Center. It was my first job that I had. I was lining fields, picking up trash. I was able to work the concession stand. Later I became a counselor and chaperoned some of the go-go's here that some of us used to attend. As time passed, I would see Tyrone here and there, and he would always greet me with that strong, firm handshake that much of us know about. As I reflect on the times that I shared with Tyrone, I realized that he left his impression on me. I was able to learn from him, from his presence. Working with him and being around him allowed me to learn from his example at a very early age. Tyrone was a man, he was a good man. Let me re-say that. Tyrone was a man who was. He was a good man. He was an intelligent man. He was a man who carried himself with pride. He was a man of integrity. He was a man who took care of other men of action. He was a man who commanded respect. He was a man of the community. He is a man that I will always remember having a positive impact on my life, impressing upon me through his actions of how a man should be. So I thank you, Tyrone, for the lessons you imparted with me. This is the part of your legacy that I took to pass on to my son and to others who witnessed my actions. Thank you.
Well, just about everything been said about Tyrone. But I know far more than most of y'all do. That was my nephew. Maybe shocking to some of you. He was my sister's child. So I know him from birth on up. But one thing I want to say about Tyrone, he was not judgmental. He was not presumptuous. Whatever you were doing, he did not try to take your job. He did not try to be ahead of anybody else. Tyrone was very humble and considerate. And I'm going to cut this short because what I want to say is that all of us need to thank God how good he is to have allowed Tyrone to have been in our lives. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Richard Abel. Some of you probably heard me referenced as Coach Country or Big Country. I don't like the big part that much. But thank you. This is a little tough. When I've known Tyrone almost my entire life. And when I was a kid, some of you around here knew me. I was a little aggressive, competitive, and according to a couple people, I had an anger management problem that I'm struggling with still, evidently. When I was 17 years old, I was something. I don't know what it was, but it was something that had to be looked out for, and Tyrone was there. I was getting ready to play a church volleyball game, and Tyrone walked up to me and asked me what I was doing, and when he asked the question, he knew the answer. He just wanted to hear me say it. And he asked me if I wanted to help him coach a basketball team. Now, Tyrone had seen me play basketball. He knew I was pretty good at it. I was a basketball player back then. I'm built like a basketball now. And I said, sure, I'll help you out, Tyrone. Anything for you. Because at that point, I was cutting grass for him when he had Tyrone lawn care. So whatever Tyrone wanted, I would be there for him.
Well, I didn't know until tonight how much Tyrone really wanted to have that job at Recreation and Parks, because when he went to Arthur Shepherd, Arthur said, "Are you sure you want Richard to coach basketball?" Because he also knew me, and Tyrone put his job on the line for me to be a basketball coach. Now, I don't know if you can understand what it means to have somebody that cares about you so much that they were willing to sacrifice everything they had, work for all that time, just to keep you out of trouble. He had no idea the impact he was going to have on my life. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you what all of that means right now to me, but because I will start crying. But I will tell you that when Tyrone asked me to help coach that team, I was supposed to be his assistant coach. Well, Tyrone, from everybody here tonight, Tyrone had a lot of jobs, a lot of them. So when I got to the first practice, Tyrone said, "Hey, I'll be right back." I saw him occasionally, and I would say, "Tyrone, I have a question," because I'm a 17-year-old kid, trying to coach a bunch of kids that aren't that much younger than me. And they really weren't ready to listen. Now I know what they had to deal with me. So I would say, "Tyrone, I've got a question," and I would tell him the problem that I had, and he said, "It sounds like you have a decision to make." And every time I asked Tyrone to help me out, that was his answer most of the time. "Sounds like you have a decision to make." And I was like, wow, nobody's ever given me that much authority to make a decision like that. But it wasn't until I got older that I realized that the decision I had to make was not just about how I was going to coach a team, or what position I was going to put a kid in, or whether or not I was going to argue with the parent who told me their kid was the greatest thing since sliced bread. The decision I had to make was, what did I want to be today? Or what did I want to be tomorrow? What kind of impact am I going to have on these children by the decisions I make, not only day by day, but minute by minute? And the example that Tyrone set for me was, he always seemed to make the right decision. Like, how did he do it? I struggled and I messed up sometimes, but Tyrone would come over and I'd tell him where I messed up, and he would talk to me about it, and he'd say, "Well, it sounds like you have a decision to make." I was 17 years old. I am 51, well, I'm almost 52 years old now. And I have never forgotten that he asked me that question, "What decision are you going to make?" And I look at everybody around here, and they talk about people's coaching trees and what line you come from. Tyrone wasn't just a coach of sports. Tyrone was a coach of people. He showed us what it was like to be in a community, not just of sports. Tyrone was so much bigger than that. I saw a post on Facebook the other day. My buddy Brandon put one on there about people saying they wanted to leave St. Mary's County because there's nothing to do around here. I think I heard somebody else say that. And there is something to do. Because I don't know too many places on the planet that you can go somewhere and be loved like you can be loved in St. Mary's County. And that is all from the example from people like Tyrone Harris, who will ask you, what decision are you going to make? How are you going to make somebody else's life better? A couple of years after I started coaching, I was struggling because I was dealing with some kids, and I'm not as graceful as Gwen and a couple of other ones, and they were struggling, and I was getting frustrated. So I called Tyrone up, and I said, "Tyrone, I don't know what to do." And I knew he was going to ask me what decision I was going to make, but he gave me some advice before that. And he said, "Imagine if you have a room full of 100 kids, and you help one kid out. You got a room with 99 kids and someone to help you out. How long would it take you to help all of those kids?" We talk about building up our community, and it starts with the individual choice that we make every day. That is the example that Tyrone Harris gave me. I see everybody out here today, and I recognize most of you, and I love you so much. And I learned that love, that it comes from Tyrone, not just Tyrone. I've had other mentors. I see other mentors in the crowd tonight. How you doing, Preston? But that's what we get from a person who cares that much, not just about the community as a whole, but about the individuals in the community. My promise to Tyrone tonight is I will always try to my best to make the right decision. And I will also never speak of Tyrone in the past tense. Because as long as I'm alive, Tyrone will be too. Thank you.
Is it still on? Hello, there's three things that I just wanted to mention about Tyrone. Family, community, like everyone has said, and friendship. Family, as far as Tyrone's concerned, has been a part of my family since the second grade. And we've gone through every class together all the way through college. The community that we grew up in was not only segregated and integrated, but we had family that gave us guidance and direction, good, orderly direction. G-O-D, God. And Tyrone was a friend. He was one of the best friends that you could ever have. When he came over to Virginia on the 28th of November, gave me a call on the way over, said, "Hey man, I'm gonna be over in your neck of the woods, man. So I said, "Where you gonna be?" He gave me the address. And, "Oh, you just 5 minutes away." I went over there to sit down and just say hello to him or whatever. We talked for 2 hours, went to McDonald's, came back and talked another hour and a half. And my wife was saying, "What are you doing? Why are you taking all this time? Well, don't you have something else to do?" I said, "No." I'm spending some time with Tyrone, my friend, and I miss him.
How y'all doing? I don't have to really use this mic because my mouth is big enough. But I just want to say, is Marvin Briscoe here? He just left, okay. How about, I see Miss Gwen is here also, but I want to give thanks to Marvin Briscoe and Miss Gwen for coming out and having this event here in reference to Mr. Harris. My name is Jerome Chase, man. Look, my nickname is Boogie, and a lot of y'all in this county know me. I had a chance to meet with Tyrone on the circumstance of the Great Mills High School shooting over there, where the girl got killed at the high school. And I was over here one day, and he stopped me and asked me would I come help him set up some chairs. And I came set some chairs up, and I got to meet Marvin. I knew Marvin, but I really didn't know Marvin by his name, but until he actually told me what his name was, but I just been knowing his face, seeing him around a lot of people. And he was very encouraging to me, also Miss Gwen was, and also Mr. Harris. So I came in and helped him to set up some chairs. I'm gonna try to keep this limited because she said the family definitely want to get out of here, but it is supposed to be 2 minutes. But I just want to say that he was definitely an influence on a lot of people here in the community, and he's definitely an example for those who actually really want to go in the right path. And the number of people that I look around here today, man, you know, he also let me know and understand that, man, listen, we together as a community, talking about blacks and whites, Puerto Ricans, Chinese, no matter who you are, need to come together for one purpose, for a community to be able to stand with each other. And so I'm just gonna cut this short and let you know, man, that I definitely appreciate. I do want to meet his son, who they said that was out of town. I don't know if you're in town here, but just get a chance to sit and meet you because I understand that you know my kids. And so I just want to know who you are. You know, man, I probably know you by face, but not by name. So I'm just gonna cut that short for Ms. Gwen, all right?
First and foremost, I give my deepest condolences to his daughter and his family and everything. I'm sorry, daughter, but he was my daddy too. So he was a lot of our daddies. And Tyrone, all you had to do was call him, just like they said. And he never judged anybody. He would always say to me, what did I say to you? Show me one perfect person. There is none. But I thank God that he gave Tyrone a part of my life. He changed me. Since I was little, I met Tyrone when I was like 16. I went playing ball with my older sister in that league, and I met Tyrone then. And now I'm 26, so. But anyway, I've been knowing Tyrone for a very long time. And he's always kept me straight. I can say he's a part of why I am the woman that I am today. I too was a part of Young Marine with Gwen, and about 10 years with these kids. But do you know that they paved the way for us? We thought we were helping the kids, but the kids were actually helping us. Because they were teaching us how to love and give back and not be so judgmental. Because sometimes we as adults can be judgmental. And kids don't want to come to you because you're always judging. But if you just take the time to listen to them like Tyrone did. Tyrone didn't judge. He just loved. And I thank God for the love that he gave to me. I thank God for the love that he gave to my sons, who were also part of the Young Ones. And to the family, I love y'all. I'll be continuously praying for y'all. But when God called Tyrone home, he called a piece of my heart too. Love you. Be blessed.
I won't be long because I'm definitely freezing, but I had to take a minute to say something to Tyrone, just to thank him for all he's done. I met Tyrone when I was 12 years old. Tyrone was going with my older sister Beverly, Frank, and I think you and him were hanging out together about that time. And my niece Andrea, his oldest daughter is my niece, but I claim his other children when he was married to Linda, Mitra, Marcus. I will claim them all as my own. But Tyrone he always called me sis. He never, whatever I needed anything or any of the children, even my son Brandon, who is in a sports mentoring and lead program, any obstacles he may have had, Tyrone was right there offering a hand to help him out in whatever way he could. It was just a sad situation because I'd seen him 2 weeks ago, and we were at his aunt's funeral, and so to get the call that he was gone was so unexpected, and I heard just like all the rest of you are hurting, but I have so many memories of Tyrone that will carry us through. I just say thank you, Tyrone. Hit my family up while you're up there, and we'll look out for your children while we're here and do the best we can for them as you did for us.
For allowing me to do this event with the help of Recreation and Parks. It means a lot for me, for the community, to have a place where we can come together and share the love. I'm not going to say share the grief, I'm going to say share the love, because the love will get you through. There's a scripture in Isaiah that I love that says, "Who shall I send? Here I am." That's Tyrone. And with that, I thank Sue Ann Armitage, the staff of Recreation and Parks, all of our speakers and presenters, St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office, friends, community. Thank you for being here, and I pray that you take those seeds that he planted, nurture them, and move forward to continue to build on what he's planted. So thank you, and remember, he always did things in decency and order. It wasn't about Facebook posts. Okay? I'm just saying. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you. God bless you.